for jazz. Willis Conover in Washington, D.C. with the Voice of America Jazz Hour. Jazz is made of many elements which came to this country from other cultures as people of other countries came to America. Jazz is many different ways of performing many different musics. Most recently, modern, rock, folk music, and electronic music. We see or hear this new fusion in the music the Mahavishnu Orchestra, Weather Report, Chick Corea and Return to Forever, the Herbie Hancock Group, and the group led by Michał Urbaniak of Poland. Michał Urbaniak, Poland. Michał Urbaniak, Poland. Michał Urbaniak, Poland.
So how did it all started, Mr. Rick Hall?
Started back in my childhood when I was very, very young. I was always around music my whole life. You know, my whole family was into playing records, all the old school music. And it just grew on me, you know.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's how it really started. My mother bought me my first acoustic guitar, and just started messing around with it. And she wanted me to take lessons so I could, learn how to read and know how to do all the things that other musicians do. But I couldn't get into it at that time because I was very young and I just wanted to play songs, right away.
That was my first next question. So
Yeah.
you probably took the guitar and started playing, and that's it.
Yeah, just messing around, making a lot of noise,
Yeah.
Yep.
So complementing this, I would like to say how I was blown where we were going to start recording Kind of Blues album in Chicago a few years ago, and then we met before the sound check, and then you played Blazing Fast Giant Steps, and I say, "Whoa, what is it? Blues, Chicago blues, or what?" I mean,
Yes,
to me, it's all the same.
it's a mixture of all music. I try not to label music because it's all good stuff, So why put a label on it? Just play, man.
Yeah. So maybe you will play a few chords and say something to the mic you have, sing.
Okay. Let me get a little water to clear my throat. Hey, Michael, I was listening to what we did at the last concert you had here
Yeah.
at the theater, and you had the ladies singing all blues.
Uh-huh.
Remember? That was the first time I ever heard the words to it. I never knew it had words.
Yeah, there, John Hendricks and a few other jazz singers wrote many lyrics, and they're not especially so popular. But if you dig, you can find almost any known jazz song with lyrics.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It was pretty hip. I really dug it. 1, 2. Let's see. Let me get something rolling here, Mike. 1, 2, 1, 2. Your love mix here. How does that sound, Mike? Can you hear that?
Oh, lady, messing around with another man. All right, Mike.
All right. It sounds great, man. Where are the other musicians hidden around you?
Say it again.
Where are the other musicians hidden around you?
Yeah, they in this box. I'm using Voice Live 3 by TC Electronics. I just picked the unit up maybe about a month ago.
Uh huh.
So I started using it because I'm not a good singer. So this voice box kind of helps it out a little bit, because it has a auto tune on it and a whole lot of things. So if you guys need to check it out, just go on the website or YouTube and check out TC Electronics Voice Live 3. That's the latest unit that they just put out, and it's I'm trying to incorporate it with the stuff I'm already doing. You know,
Uh,
kind
so,
of fill it up.
so your guitar must look like a Russian tank.
Uh, this is my second one.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got two controllers on this one.
Uh-huh.
Wireless guitar Shure system, and I got another Shure system with this mic. And
Uh-huh.
this guitar was made by a good friend of mine. I don't know if you remember the rock guitar player back in the day named Dean Zelinsky. Anyway, he used to make the Dean guitars, and then he started his own line. So he made me a custom. I don't know if you can see it, a custom Dean Zelinsky, and then he customized and put my name on the back of the guitar neck. Probably can't see that, but
I can see it. Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Listen, how many bands did you work with? Or, I mean, did you made or whatever? Can you
There's so many of them, Mike. I can't name them all, but I know presently,
important ones, you know,
presently,
before
yeah,
Buddy
presently
Holly.
with Buddy Guy, and then before Buddy Guy, a group called the Dells, and then played with Tony, another R&B group,
Uh-huh.
another soul singer named Jerry Butler, the Iceman, and played with a lot of people, man. Even Santana. I don't know if you can see the picture back on my wall, but me and Santana jammed together on a Buddy Guy hit in San Francisco back in the day. And Santana is a real nice, cool guy because he helped me, kind of gave me a good plug on the first recording DVD I did with him and Buddy in at the Montrose Jazz Festival.
Uh-huh.
And you could probably pull that up online as well. It's I think Carlos Play the Blues or something like that. Anyway, he gave me a good write up about my playing on that, and we've been friends ever since then. And it's been over 17 years now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So and then I played with Mikey Urbanic, his band. So play with a lot of cats, man.
Yeah. What about recordings?
Uh, Once again, I did a couple of recordings with the Dells, uh, a group that I had to stay with for over 20 years almost. I stayed with those guys almost 20 years. Did a couple of albums. Uh, did a lot of live recordings. Not too many studio events, but more live recordings. Worked with the let's see who else. You
Uh-huh.
worked on some of your project recordings. I don't know if we finished yet, but we got some stuff
But
getting
you
ready.
know you know the name of the project?
No, you never told me. You just said Mike Hughes.
No,
Never told me the name.
it's called Kind of Blues.
Oh, right. Kind of blues. Yep.
It's,
So that project is coming up. And
yeah.
then I did a couple of recordings recently with a couple of local guys out of Chicago, R&B artist named Vern Allison.
Uh-huh.
Did some tracks with him. And then I did another blues album for another lady out of California named Carol Gaines. Her father was a great blues guitarist. And who else? Just can't think of all of them right off the top of my head, Mike.
Yeah.
And then a live album with Buddy Guy at the Buddy Guy Legends.
Yes.
Did a live album. Um, and then working on a couple of my own personal projects. I'm still trying to get developed.
Uh-huh.
But really, all that stuff you can find on my website because I try to keep it updated with everything that I'm doing. Because sometimes I can't remember everything.
Of course, but it's so nice to hear it straight from you.
Yeah.
You know how it is, and that's why I know that there are some great journalists who before the interviews never didn't read, for example, interviewed book writer and didn't read the book. They ask
Right.
why. Yeah, because I wanted to know from the writer. I don't want be have preconception, but fortunately we know your music. I mean, some or most of us.
Mhm.
So, would you like to share a few sounds, or we go ahead with some talking?
We can do some talking
All
because
right.
I want you to break your violin out at the end so we can do a quick jam.
This is very, very hard with today's technology yet, but
Uh-huh.
we are preparing for it. Next time in few weeks, I think we're gonna do it.
Okay, that sounds good.
Because for now, we have time lag, and especially on such a long distance.
Exactly. Tell Magic to break out his guitar and we'll do some at the end.
Yes, yes. He is with us. He's just hiding. Probably he is in the car or somewhere.
Okay, okay.
Okay, listen. What guitar players influenced you when you were a kid? I know blues and R&B, but some names you always
Uh,
heroes.
uh,
We all had heroes
yeah.
growing up.
First, it was I got a lot of influence from the blues guys. I used to play with Albert King for a while as well. When I was in college, I went to a Chicago Conservatory of Music because I
Uh,
was going to be a music teacher. And just so happens, I don't know how he just happened to show up down there. He came down to the college looking for a rhythm guitar player, Albert King, to back him up on on some dates. So I auditioned for him, got the gig, and my dean of the college told me, he said, "Hey man, since you got a professional gig from the college, you can go ahead and go on tour, and all you got to do is do your homework, turn your homework in, and you're gonna pass." So I thought that's what I wanted to do was go out with Albert King and be on the road. So first time date we had was in Minneapolis, Minnesota, at a club called a Caboose, which I think still exists. And long story short, uh, Albert King had just three horns, drummer, and me and him. So the guys he put me with, I never seen them before, played with them until we got to Minneapolis. So we get to the gig, Minneapolis at the Caboose, and Albert King said, "All right, you guys go up there and do two tunes and call me up." So I said, I asked the other guys, I said, "Hey man, everybody was talking. You know how musicians are. We always say, well, what do you know? What songs you know? What you know? We was going through that ordeal. And then I said, okay, I know Breezing by George Benson, and I know Mr. Magic. So we played those two tunes, came out real nice and smooth. But before all that happened, I was trying to be a good guitar guy. So I was gonna tune up Albert King's guitar for him. You know that old Flying V he had with the the regular headstock on it, the original one. Anyway, to me it sounded like it was out of tune, but I didn't know Albert played cross Spanish. So he had his guitar tuned in a straight E chord, you
Oh,
know.
I didn't
And
know that.
yeah, and I tuned it to a straight 440. Okay. So I thought I was doing something good for Albert, by him tuning his guitar. So we up there playing, and he said he called. He always come up on "Skinny Legs," the song by Joe Tex. So we was playing it, humping and humping, "Skinny Legs." So Albert King come up on stage, and he light his pipe before he picked up his guitar. Light his pipe, looked at the audience, and they going crazy because he just came out, and we just and then he picks up his guitar and strap it in and get ready to play. And the first note he hit, it was so out of tune, out of tune. So I don't know if I can curse Mike, but he turned around and said, "Who the F tuned my guitar? Ever touch my guitar again?" And so while we were still playing, this was going on while we were still playing. He was yelling and screaming, and then he started tuning his guitar up real loud while we playing, like making all kind of noise, tuning up the way he plays. But once he got it in tune, he went to work, man. He got down. And I had a tape of that show. I don't know what happened to it. I loaned it to another friend of mine, and he just, I don't know, just lost it. And I've been trying to retrieve that session from Johnny Lang's, another great guitarist and vocalist out of Minneapolis. I was trying to retrieve that taping, but the guy, because he was the one that said he mixed it at the caboose, and he said he couldn't find it. So hey, lost in the sauce, but it was a good tape. And other people I played with influenced me was George Benson. I liked him a lot, and I used to try to pattern myself after him all the time. Just play his licks, just do everything like George Benson. So just one particular time, I was in the studio here in Chicago at a place called, it was Germ Studio. Another guitarist had bought the Chess Records studio on 22nd and Michigan, and he rehabbed it and turned it into his studio at this time. So I was hired as one of the session guitarists for the studio. So he had a session with a lady come in singing a song. It was nice and real good, nice smooth R&B tune. And then he said, "Okay, Rick, take a solo." Okay, so at that time, all I knew was George Benson licks. So I started playing George Benson licks over this tune. And before I can get through with the solo, he cut the session. He said, hold it. Everybody cut. Everybody said, what's wrong? It was going good. What's going on? He said, "Rick, if I wanted George Benson on this session, I would have called him. I want to hear what you sound like." And Michael, at that time, I had no idea because all I was doing was George Benson stuff. So that just let me know that I had to find my own identity in playing, instead of trying to emulate somebody else. But everything I play, still listen to a lot of guitar players, and I take bits and pieces from here and here and here and here, and try to incorporate it into, developing it to my style, which I play now.
Yeah.
So, and then I liked Phil Upchurch, George Benson's backup guitarist. He had some nice chord rhythmic stuff going, and a lot of guys don't understand that it's cool to solo, but if you don't have the flavor of playing chords and intervals and stuff like that, the tune ain't gonna happen. I mean, you can solo and play all the licks you want, but you got to have that rhythm holding the track together. So between Philip Church, Tower of Power, I listen to them for my rhythm. They got a lot of rhythm going back in the day, all the way to Bum City album. They had a lot of chops. The guy was chopping and a lot of rhythmic stuff happening. So I listened to a lot of Tower Power stuff, influence from them. Bruce Conte, which I got a chance to meet him in California as well while I was on tour with the Dales back in the day. Matter of fact, Tower Power opened up this show, as I recall. So I got a chance to meet all those cats. So now I just listen to just a little bit of everything, Mike. Trying to stay current. And then when you came on the set with your fusion stuff, man, I said, this is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of playing I want to do. So that tune that we did at the Choplin Theater, I never played it out with nobody, and it was called "So What."
Yeah.
And you said, "Yeah, go," and I just hit it, and it just worked out. We didn't rehearse. It wasn't really rehearsed. We just everybody knew the track, so everybody involved their own self in the track, put their own thing in. You played violin and saxophone on it, so it was a fun time. Fun time.
It's fun time too for me.
Yeah, yeah.
I was blown away by the whole band. I didn't know who am I meeting. I just called Felton and said, I'd like to record. Would you put this rhythm and band? He said, okay. And we met and we started playing almost, straight without knowing, it's just the
Yeah.
soundtrack.
Yeah, and Felton Cruz, he's another one of my childhood musician friends back in the day. We knew each other from way back. So, he just so happened to call up and I was available. So it just happened, man. It just happened.
Yeah, I remember him from a Miles time, you know.
Yeah. What time is it there where you guys are?
It's 6:37 p.m.
Oh, okay.
So is your guitar retuned or is it tuned? Can we hear a few more chords?
Yeah, sure. Let me get some going here, Mike.
Right.
Let me try to.
As a matter of fact, Mike, I'm into a lot of orchestration. I don't know if it's coming through clear or not. I'm not sure. two, 1, 2, 1, 2. Pretty brown eyes, you know I see you. It's the day skies where you dream. Keep holding on to your thought of rejection. If you win me, you're stuck to try something else. Hey, keep telling me that your time is always taken. Just to see you out alone. Tell me right now if your heart is in the right place, waiting to be unleashed, breaking my heart.
She was going on right there.
Skin deep, underneath, we're all the same. Skin deep, underneath, we're all the same. We're all the same.
That's
A little,
Uh,
1, 2, little thing from Buddy Guys.
he does
Song called Skin Deep.
stuff like
it sounds great, man. You got it all together, one man band.
not yet. Still working on it.
Yeah,
Got a
that
little bugs in it, but you know it's gonna be all right.
okay. I'd like to ask everybody who's got any questions.
I got one question about
The Wi-Fi
uh,
number.
what
You might want to check the
what
connection setting.
was your influence of Muddy Waters? Is it were any influence if you were any influenced by Muddy Waters or Robert Johnson playing any of
Uh,
these blues classics?
no, I was influenced by them. It was more R&B type of background. I was brought up on R&B basically, and it just so happens I got a blues gig. You know, even though I went to college to study jazz, you know, and all that kind of stuff, just happened to get a blues gig. So Robert Johnson and all those guys, I listened to them later after I got, with Buddy Guy, because he was a whole influence on those guys. So that's when I got into that type of stuff.
And you were always around Chicago.
Yeah, I was born in Chicago
Uh-huh.
and always around Chicago musicians, but not too many blues guys in the beginning. My basic makeup was in the beginning was gospel, believe it or not. Got a lot of roots tied into gospel. Because, as a matter of fact, I was raised by one of the old gospel groups back in the day, and I didn't know who they were, but they were real popular, and they were called the Gospel Soul Stirrers. And
So,
you can, yeah, probably pull it up online. As a matter of fact, the guitar player for them was my first guitar teacher, which I hated. I hated taking guitar lessons. Hated it. But as I found out later on in life, it was a better way to communicate with people and other musicians. If you did know about music, how to read, and had the knowledge of it, you could communicate better and, and talk through it. But to the young man's question, no, I wasn't influenced by none of those guys. I didn't listen to a lot of it back in the day. But now, I go back, I go on YouTube and check them out now to see what they was doing and see the message that was they were leaving, which is very important now, to me. So I'm kind of I guess a late starter in that genre.
okay. Uh, well, how different is it now for you as a musician? I mean, I don't mean just pandemic times, but I mean last years, with streaming, with all, playing the way it is versus like 10, 20 years ago.
It's a little different now. It's a little bit more rock influence and more aggressive now since I've been playing with Buddy Guy. He added another power to the old school music, even though he was playing it back in the day. But I guess as he got older, he just started being a little bit more aggressive with the blues. Turned into more rock blues, I think. And that's when the other guys from England and all these other countries started catching on to him, like Eric Clapton and all these other guys.
Uh-huh.
And the Rolling Stones, met all of them. We played together. And as a matter of fact, I just did the last Eric Clapton Crossroads in New York. Just did that maybe, I think the last one was 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I met a lot of the old guitar players and, back in the day.
And what about generally about today's generation's music?
Today, the young kids are going back and just rediscovering all the old guys that played back in the day. And some of them are, nailing it note for note, and they sounding real good playing it. So the young generation, some of them, they putting their own little catch to it, but they still kind of playing, But I think they're going to carry it on just in at a different level because music styles and all this other new equipment, everything has changed back, from then to now. So it'll be still carrying on as long as some of the older musicians are still with us, you know, which
Originals, you mean originals?
yeah, originals and Buddy Guy, fingers crossed, is still with us, and he's one of the original guys that opened the door for all us young guitar player cats to be able to elevate and put our own style to the music of the Robert Johnsons and Muddy Waters and all these other guys.
Listen, there is a question from Lucy on chat. How would you distinguish blues in jazz and in rock music?
I really wouldn't say that, because like I was telling you earlier, it's all music. It still has the same flavor, maybe just a different way of expressing or playing it, because jazz, you know, developed into blues. Blues came to jazz. So I wouldn't really try to categorize it, you know, just keep your ears open and just listen, you know, and whatever touch your fancy, just play.
But in blues, you've got a particular form, 16 bars and so on. Sorry, 12 mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
so it's the same in the rock, same chords in B flat blues in jazz and in rock.
yeah, basically same kind of chord.
Only bands are here jazz band and here rock band. It's
Yeah, just jazz musicians make more mistakes. That's all.
Yeah, I didn't understand her question.
How would you distinguish blues in jazz and in rock music?
Uh, just tweak it up a little bit, add a little power drive to it. So say if I was doing something like this. Let's see. Then add a little drive to it. What all the rock guys do now. You know, like that. Then the jazz guys, you know, they might play a 13 with it. You know, it's just a combination of everything mixed together. Jazz and blues guys, to me, uh, are basically the same. They just got maybe a different drive or different chord structure, playing different intervals, but long as they can communicate the same way, just like when we play with you, Michael, we did a blues song which we had never did before, and to me, you was the fusion guy on the blues song, which Marty Salmon, the keyboard player, was singing it, you know, and you put the fusion violin solo on top of what we was playing, which took it to a whole different level. But you know, we all could still communicate, even though we was playing a blues groove. You came with the fusion jazz groove and just laid it out, you know, and it still worked out. And you know, that's why I said I don't put a label to none of that stuff. Just mix it all together and play.
Yeah, somebody said, the general jazz by itself is a fusion because there's always, history from the blues, from gospel, from all the sides. With time, something came in to it. But now we didn't talk anything about hip hop. How about hip hop?
Hip hop, to me, it's the same. If you listen to the new hip hop artists now, they still grabbing licks from the old blues guys,
Yeah.
old jazz licks. If you listen to some of that stuff, they got maybe a pickup or a line in their song, in their rap before they start rapping. Just like Buddy Guy's daughter, Shauna, she's a rapper. You know, she raps, and she used to be with Ludacris. She took one of her father's song and and twist it around and put a rap to it. Like you could probably go to buddyguy.tv and see the footage because we did it one January, which was one of Buddy Guy's his songs off his latest album. And his daughter put a rap on top of it, which surprised him because he didn't know she was gonna rap on top of his blues tune. So it all incorporates together, and they just take bits and pieces from samples, if you want to call it samples, from the blues artists, from the jazz artists, and put it with their hip hop sound, and it just fuses it together. So to me, it's all music, man. You know, simple. You know,
Just
but it's good. I just want to tell the young kids it's good to go back and study the history of all those older musicians back in the day, Charlie Christians, the Wes Montgomery,
that's what I was waiting for.
Wes
yeah,
Montgomery is a very big influence on every jazz guitarist.
right. And a lot of kids sample some of his guitar licks and put it on their hip hop record just to get it, a different flavor, which is new to them, but it's old to us because when we listen to it, we say, "Oh man, that's our stuff." They taking our music and putting on theirs, but it's new to them. But it's a good thing that they do go to the knowledge and go back in the day to listen to that kind of music because it's still very very educational, and you can learn a lot from it in development of your own musical style as time goes on. You know, time goes on as you get older, you kind of really figure out exactly what these guys were doing, where it would fit in today's music society, stuff like that.
Can I ask you one more? Did you play with organ, Hammond organ trios or quartets?
Uh, no, not really. I had my own section, which I played a MIDI guitar organ
Oh,
trio. You
oh.
know, I did that, but I had never played with those guys. But I used to listen to a lot of organ players because I went to church as well, so I listened to how they structured the bass lines, play their chord stuff, chord and intervals, and
So I can tell a short story. How did I meet and become friends with George Benson? In 1965, we were playing Stockholm,
yeah,
and opposite Jack McDuff. Whole months of burning jazz. This was incredible. This was the biggest shock, one of the biggest shocks. And my friend, piano player, and me, we became crazy about playing with organ. And until today, as much as possible, I love playing in Hammond organ settings. Anyway, and with George, like straight from West Montgomery schools, I freaked out, and I'm friends with him, and when we meet, we jam sometimes. Sometimes we play ping pong, and sometimes we have rum and coke for 2 days.
yeah, man, I can dig that.
I want to ask, hi. I would like to ask the question, what is your favorite music producer and how you work in the studio? What is important for you in the studio when you work? And how the music producer can make a difference in the studio? And it's important for you as well that your sound is much better than others.
Well, it music producers. I met a couple of them, and I worked with a couple of them. Some of them are hard to work with, and basically, a lot of music producers already have their musicians that they like to record with because they can articulate and communicate together. But an outsider coming right into another session with a different producer sometimes never works out. So mostly all the producers I've met, they already had their recording guys they wanted to use. And one, for instance, Tom Washington, uh, played. He did a lot of stuff with Phil Collins and the R&B, a lot of R&B guys out of Chicago. And I had a chance of working with him. And the only reason I got to work with him is because the guys I played for, which was the Dells, insisted that I be on the session. That's the only way I got on a couple of those sessions with the Dells. But most producers already got their guys, because they write their music out a certain way, and everybody deciphers the music a different way. You might look at a chord on a chart, and you could play it a triad. The next guy might come and play a full chord. You know, it's you know it's just different from a lot of producers. Some producers use the number system. They don't write the chords out. They don't write the notes out. They just use a number system. You got to know the number system. And if you're used to working with that producer, he only calls the guys that know how to, make his stuff sound good. Because as you know, you can write the best score out in the world, but if you don't have the right musicians playing it, it ain't gonna sound like nothing. Because even though those notes are on the sheet, if you don't have the ability to make those notes sound like something, you off the session. Simple as that.
And
Do you have any producer you would love to work in your future? For example, that it's that this is the right producer and you want to work that he can make difference,
Uh, at
or
this
you
time,
don't like, you just prefer to be in the band and play with the band.
uh, that's the easiest way to do it. Just be in the band and just play. Because a lot of producers have, I'm gonna say, quote unquote, uh, to me, terrible egos. And if
Mhm.
they don't have the right producer, the right musicians, it causes a lot of conflicts in the studio when you're trying to play something. So I don't really, at this point, I don't have a producer I would like to work with. The one I did like to work with, he's passed. Rest in peace. He's gone.
Mhm.
But he was the easiest one that was easiest one to work with because he took whoever he had. If he was a good musician or a bad musician, he would stay with you and make you play the whole chart right, which I just greatly respect the guy. His name is we call him Paco, but his name is George Patterson. And to me, he was the easiest and best producer that I have ever worked with in in the studio, because he took whatever musician he had. He didn't cry about, well, I need this guy, I need that guy. He took whoever was there. He made you play that music right. So right now, as far as producers, nobody I can think of that I really want to deal with at the moment.
you
Thank
know,
you.
in hip hop, most of the guys call themselves producers.
Yeah.
Whoever puts the beat is a producer, right?
Yeah, whoever pays the money is the producer. Whoever
And
do
that's
that.
the
So yeah. So the producer,
integrity.
yeah, the producer doesn't really know have to be able to play anything, but if he pays the money, he's the producer. You know.
Going back to Don Pattison, was he organ player at one time in his life?
No, believe it or not, he was a saxophone player,
Uh-huh.
but he could arrange music like it was crazy. And his at that time, Michael, everybody was doing things by pen. He was writing it out. Wasn't no computers. He would write out everything, every note for note, every rhythm change, everything. As a matter of fact, the last time I had to work with him, we did a play here in Chicago at the Black Ensemble Theater. It's called a Jackie Wilson story, and it went all the way to Broadway. We went all the way to Broadway with this, and he had the charts laid out so perfectly of all the songs. You know, it was easy to read his penmanship. A lot of producers back in the day when they wrote out, you couldn't hardly read some of that stuff. You know, it was hard to read it. But he was so neat. You know, his writing was so neat. I wish I had time. I would pull out some of his charts because I still got some of the charts. And like I say, this cat was the only producer that I enjoyed working with. He made the session fun. He made it easy. It wasn't all that ego stuff. He wasn't screaming and hollering. He just laid it out and you play your part. And he was going for his masters before he got sick. You know, he got sick in New York while we was doing the run at the Apollo Theater. Yeah, he got sick and passed away very quickly. But George Patterson, we called him Paco. He was one of the best arrangers that I like working with. Answer to the young lady's question. But now I don't know any producers that that that's interesting to me. And like you said, Michael, all the new age guys, um, all they doing is producing, but they taking the stuff that was already cut that we cut back in the day, back in the '60s, and
50s
so,
even.
yeah. So the stuff, you know, I wouldn't actually call them producers, but if you want to,
I don't, but that's why I brought it.
yeah, yeah. But those kids are making a lot of money, producing and cutting the tracks. So hey, times has changed. Maybe we got lost in the sauce, Mike. I don't know.
True.
But Michael, young lady, I don't know your name, but Michael he's a good producer because when he comes into the session, the last session we did here in Chicago, he comes into the session, he gives you a part way ahead of time. So ain't no time to be messing around once he comes into the studio. So the last one we did was at I forgot the name of that studio, Mike, we was at, but Mike had gave us the tunes ahead of time, and everybody had great improvisational skills. And Michael, he didn't pinpoint and make you play this. It's got to be this. He said, "Okay, fellas, this is what it is. Go for it." And he would, sit there and we put it together. Everybody put their own flavor into what he was trying to project. I don't know if he liked it or not, but you know,
Look, I'm grateful for this because those are great sessions, and usually first takes are the ones, and that's usually how it works.
yeah,
I
yep,
think.
yep. So that's why I've been on Michael's. Uh-oh, did it kick off? Oh, there it is. There we are. We back now.
Maybe he was a producer.
Yeah, he said cut.
Maybe he was a producer.
Yeah, there you go. So what happened? Did it get disconnected or something?
Yeah, some hiccup, internet
Oh,
hiccup.
okay. Okay, so is the young lady a musician?
No, I am much more involved in the industry, music industry. I used to
Okay.
work with Michael many years, so I know lots of things about how he creates music and everything. But now I live in London and I quite a little bit changed my way. I am
Oh,
much more in movie industry.
okay. Oh, the movie. Okay, that's
Yeah.
good industry, and plus there's a lot of music and into the music business as well. Yeah, because I think Michael, you just did a movie, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
quite
So
a few actually.
yeah, so it's a lot of music into the movie industry as well.
Yeah, but I always observe the musicians
Uh
because
huh.
they always can maybe do something interesting and everything. Because what you told is true that it's about music. Music is everything. Okay, producer can come to the studio and play what you told that, but you can write the best notes and everything. But it's about heart. It's about how
Yeah.
you feel it. It's about rhythm and about everything. It's the same with the movies. If you make a movie, it's about energy, about story, how you create this and everything, and after that is the rest.
That's
Is always the first place. I just always ask about producers because they are producers and producers, and I
yeah.
know that there are some kinds of people that they are coming to the studio and they make a change, and this is different. It's not often, it's rare, but I know that Michael is one of them because I could watch him and he helped many people and everything. Of
Right.
course, New York, I travel a lot and I saw lots of people as well. And Eric Clapton, I organized concert 2 years ago in Royal Albert Hall. It was very good concert. But
Mm-hmm.
if we are talking about blues and jazz, well, he's like you told on the crossroad. It's
Yeah.
not like typical blues and it's wow, you feel it, this rhythm and everything. It is, you still feel it, but it's like between, I think, much more music, new era and everything.
There you go. And it's the magic word you said. Create. If you got a person that can create some energy into the project, I mean that's it. Producer doesn't have to do anything but sit back and let it happen.
Yeah, but somebody said, and I like that phrase, that good, best producers are the ones who know who to call for the session.
Right.
Truth.
That's true. And that's what I mean. Call for the session because you know what the guy can create and what type of
and
energy
how
he
to
can.
and how to sign the good contract with them.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
I know the story from Quincy. That there was a session with Beatles, and there was one place where Ringo couldn't cut it right, and they stayed day and night with who was the Martin, both of them, Quincy and Don Martin, produce, producing Beatles
George
record.
Martin. George Martin.
George Martin, right? And then Quincy got an idea. He said, "Listen, Ringo, take a rest. We'll do something else. Go for the walk, or come back tomorrow, and we'll finish it." And then they called another studio drummer. They put those important 8 or whatever 16 bars was there. And then next day, Ringo said, "Wasn't that bad what I played yesterday?" So that's how it went. It's
That's the Ringo. That's the Ringo.
yeah, but that's just Queen's true story.
So the young man that's on there, is he a musician or just a producer or what?
You're talking about
I
Cyprian
think
right now?
Cyprian, that's
Me or
Benson
who?
too.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm a drummer. I play drums and I'm starting to play keyboards. I got 2 weeks ago, I got a MIDI controller and I'm starting to play keys. But 3 or maybe 2 years ago, I started to play drums. I'm not a producer. I will not even say I'm a musician. My biggest heroes of playing drums are Jon Christensen, the Norway drummer. I'm very into the Scandinavian jazz,
oh, okay.
the ECM records, ACT records. They are very important for me, and playing of these drummers and these musicians like Jan Garbarek or Niels Peter Molver, the great trumpeter, they are very important for me. But the Americans like John Scofield, Mike Stern,
Yeah.
Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Michael Brecker, all these are also very important for me. All of this music is the top notch. Yeah, you can't Pat Metheny, Lon Mace, all of these musicians are. I listen to them. I think every day. They are heroes, superheroes, like Wayne Shorter said about Jaco Pastorius. He's a superhero. He was a superhero. Yes, he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a musician. He was a superhero. So for me, it works like this. These musicians like Miles Davis or John Coltrane are not musicians. They are our superheroes in our jazz, blues, fusion, who knows what word. Yes.
There you go, man. I feel you. Are
I
It's
think
you?
so
the
nice
music
to hear from somebody that his age, his generation, and I'm blown away. I really,
Yeah.
15 years old. I'm 15 years old.
I'm moved.
15. Oh man. This kid is gonna be one of the great ones, Michael. You better keep an eye on him because a lot of kids don't go that deep into the music scene like that. And that's for 15 years old. That's pretty deep.
I really, really felt it and feel it.
Yep.
I also have a question, if it's possible to ask.
Okay.
How
course,
did you,
today.
okay, how did you meet Buddy Guy? Because if I imagine meeting Buddy Guy, it just feels crazy, you know?
Okay. Well, I had met Buddy Guy years ago before I really started playing with him. I met him when I was in college at the conservatory again, right before I got the Albert King gig. I was in another band with Buddy Guy called the 43rd Street Blues Band when Buddy Guy had his old club on, I think it was 43rd or 47th Street. The old, I think it was called Legends. I'm not sure. No, yeah, Checkerboard or something. It was called something. But anyway, I met him at that point playing with that band, and all we would do was college dates. We just do all college dates. And I was still into the big jazz guitar stuff, and just playing rhythm for him. And I met him then, back at that time in the '70s. And then as time went on, I ran into his brother, which was another phenomenal guitar player. Rest in peace. His name was Phil Guy. And so me and Phil played together for a few years, you know, after that. And then all of a sudden, after the Stevie Ray Vaughan incident, when Stevie Ray got killed in that plane accident, at the same time, Buddy Guy had just, uh, got rid of his band, so he was doing an acoustic tour with John Mayer, B.B. King, Eric Clapton, and it was Buddy Guy. They was doing something like a acoustic sit-down tour, so they was playing acoustic stuff all together at the same time. Anyway, Buddy Guy had decided that he wanted to put a new band together. Okay, so he called his brother, which was Phil Guy. He said, "Hey Phil, who is the guys in Chicago that got a clean passport, no drugs, and can travel on the road without crying about going home?" So his brother named me and a few other guitar players. So long story short, I was doing a jam in Chicago, not Chicago, but Harvey, Illinois, at a club called Larry's. I would do it every Monday and have numerous guitar players. Everybody would come down and sit in. We just have a good time. So anyway, uh, Phil had came up to me one day. I was playing at a club in Chicago called Kingston Mines. And I was sitting in a chair, just playing and looked like I was asleep, but I wasn't asleep. It was just a long ass gig. And anyway, Phil came up and hit me on the shoe to wake me up. He said, "Hey man, wake up." I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Hey man, my brother's looking for a guitar player. Are you interested?" I said, "Yeah, man. Yeah, whatever. Get out of here. I'm trying to sleep." So I didn't take it serious. So one thing led to another. A Monday night came, and Buddy Guy came all the way to this little club I played in Harvey, Illinois, which is maybe 30 miles outside of Chicago. So he came down and was sitting on the bar, and the band I was playing with, we was just jamming and playing, and he was just sitting there checking us out. So I said, I'm gonna go over and speak to him when I go on break. But the thing was, every time before we go on break, he would leave, but he had to leave and go back to the tour, that acoustic tour he was doing. So he did the whole stint for like 3 weeks in a row. He would come down to the club, sit at the bar, listen to us play, and leave. So I said, okay, well, maybe he's just trying to get away out of Chicago, trying to, find a different place to cool out before he go back to the tour. So finally, the fourth week he came down to this club, he got there before we started playing. And I was tuning I had my back to the audience, tuning my guitar up, getting ready to start the jam session. And he just walked up in behind me and said, "Hey man, you want to be in my band?" I turned around and looked at him and started laughing. I said, "Man, get out of here, man." He said, "No, man, I'm serious. I need some guys that's got clean passport, not scared to stay on the road long periods of times, and no drugs." I said, "Yeah, okay, man. I give it a try, but I need for you to give me 2 week notice, because I got to train another guitar player for this other hit I had, which was with a group called Adele's out of Harvey, Illinois." So he gave me the 2 weeks. I trained another guitar player, and then I came to the rehearsal. I'm still not thinking that I had the gig. So we had this club in Chicago rehearsing, you know, and it just particularly this one rehearsal day, it went fine. And afterwards, he said, "Okay, we getting ready to go do a couple of dates." So everybody knew that I couldn't go, you know, didn't know I couldn't go, but Buddy Guy had already knew, because he said, "Just do what you got to do, and then you join the band later." But the other people in the band didn't know. So the manager comes down and bring everybody their flight schedule, the tickets, the whole shebang. So he handed me one, and I said, "What's this?" He said, "This is your chicken and stuff." I said, "I'm not going." And he went ballistic. He said, "Buddy, see, this is what I'm talking about. You get these guys and they still don't have their stuff together, blah, blah, blah." And Buddy said, hold it, settle down. I already know he couldn't go. He said, "Well, you didn't tell us." He said, "I don't have to tell you. This is my band." So he's going to get somebody else to be the sub. So I called another friend of mine, Will Crosby, another fine guitar player. As a matter of fact, he's playing out with Michael Jackson's brother now, Tito Jackson. He's doing some stuff with them. And anyway, he did the first 2 weeks that I couldn't go out with Buddy. So I just knew that once Buddy hit his other cat, I was going, the gig, I wasn't going to have a gig. But thing about Buddy, this is why I got so much respect for him. He said what he was going to do. He kept his word that I was going to be in the band. And when they came back off those 2 weeks, he called me up and said, "Hey, you ready?" I said, "Wow." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, come on, man. We're getting ready to head out to Switzerland." And I just knew, I said, "Wow, this cat kept his promise and his word." And next thing I know, I was in the band. We was on the road, and that's it, man. That was it. And I've been with him for the last, look like 16 or 17 years. Until this pandemic hit. The pandemic killed our last tour, which ended March 13th in Arizona.
Uh-huh.
You know, it killed the tour. The pandemic just wiped the whole tour out, season out. Is just horrible thing. And I'm not sure or if and when we will be going back to work, you know, because they still haven't got anything under control with this vaccine and all this other stuff. So just fingers crossed that it'll happen soon because he's 84 now. Not sure how long he planned on staying out here. You know, he might stay out here as long as BB King did. Not sure. But you know, we still talk every now and then, you know, keep in touch to see when stuff is gonna break loose and happen. But that's how I got with the Buddy Guy. I got through with him through his brother, Phil Guy.
And what about the club? His club is it open or not? No.
Uh, it's not open. You remember they had the riot here, and they kind of messed the club up. They broke all the windows out. So if you ever come back to Chicago, you'll see that everything is still boarded up, and the club isn't open. You know, because Buddy said he's not gonna open his club up because can't make enough money with 25 people in it. You know, it's just not feasible. So he said he's gonna leave it closed until till things get better. And you can go by there or pull it up online. You'll see how it's boarded up, and everybody would come by and paint pictures on the board. You know, the windows that was broken out. So no club action at the moment.
Yeah, in London is the same.
Oh,
London
London
is
is like
everything
that.
is closed, and it's going to be until they not just now announced that's probably no concerts and everything until the end of the year. So 1 year without concerts. So well,
Okay.
I love concerts and everything. So for me, it's just like last my concert was like Wooten Brother. I loved, it's just really amazing, but I can't
Hmm.
believe that my life will be without concerts. And still I can tell, for example, that there is supposed to go the James Bond premiere. They
Right.
don't know how to do it because probably there is no cinema anymore. Like at this moment they can't put it people, so they can't get back money. So they are thinking about to create big platform that people can just log in and buy everything online to
Hmm.
in the same time and everything, and screening the one movie like all over the world, and do like that. And maybe in the future it will be like that because technology now is just going crazy. People they just they get like crazy about how to make life more
Right.
technological and everything. And I think it will be afflicted as well for the music and other things, but we don't know how still
Yeah.
yet, I
Yeah.
think.
Because I'm looking at maybe not this year, but Buddy said maybe at the end of the year because I looked at our tour schedule and they got some dates up there, but with the way they're going with the vaccine distribution, I don't see it actually formulating. Not this year, maybe later in 2022. That's what I'm thinking. But the way
But do
you
you
can't
think,
have
for you as a musician, do you think that will be more like studio session, that like the studio recordings and everything will be reborn once again? Because if there is no concert, people still has to, okay, they probably create more platforms and everything, but I think
right.
for recording studio that people can record music, this is the very good like way that people still play, they can play together. And maybe they have to find different of way to distribution of music only.
You're exactly right because that's the way I've been doing the sessions that I've been doing lately is online. Somebody send me a file, I download it to my system, and then I send it back to them. You know, we keep sending files back and forth, and they finally do the mix. And that's the way that's what it is right now. It's going to be like that for a long time. And just like we're doing now, like the video thing, luckily we still got that platform to communicate and see each other. It
Mm-hmm.
kind of, you know, it kind of helps, but it's not the same of being there in person, you know.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but this is
Because you can't feel energy. The computer is just like
yeah,
even now you can, okay, we can see each other and everything, and okay, thank you that we have this opportunity, but it's different when you are sitting next to me and play the guitar. It's completely different. It's different flow, different energy, because you feel energy of the people. So
exactly.
energy create things. Yeah, it's completely different.
Right. Yep. And that's the magic word you said, the energy of the people. That's what make you as a musician playing live want to project more and create more at that time from the energy that the people would give you. But like this, I mean, I've seen a lot of musicians and entertainers try to do the virtual thing with the video. I mean, that's cool, but it's just, it's just not the same. Not the same. And then I did go to one virtual comedy show just to see how they were doing it, and they had it outside, but everybody had to stay in their cars to look at the performer on stage, and it's kind of weird, you know, it's kind of weird.
We can compare that to the real life shows when you or Michael play, and to TV or DVD live, what we can watch. It's not that energy.
Right.
It's very different. It's very cool to see like Michael Brecker or other musicians playing on TV or from DVD or even on YouTube or other streams, but it's very different from the real life show, and only the demo. I will say it's only demo of the real life show. It's not the real.
And also understanding the music is better live. For example, free jazz music is hard, quite hard to listen just from a smartphone and doing whatever else. But live, it's really amazing, and yeah, it's
It's true.
completely different.
It's true.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, I got one question too. Is that all right? Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
hear me? So sorry, I can turn on my camera. I'm kind of under on. Oh, wish you could see my face. We probably wouldn't because I have a mask on. I need to get to my dentist appointment. Sorry, but I really wanted to ask about the guitar playing from more of the technical point of view. About how did you develop your inner voice? How much of those bits and pieces from George Benson's licks you put into your guitar playing right now, and how much of it is just you singing through the instrument? Or what would you say about that?
Um, like I said before, earlier, I still listen to those licks and I still incorporate it into some of my playing, but just different ways. That
So could you say that
kinda-
again? Didn't hear.
yeah, I still incorporate some of those techniques into my playing, but just articulate it different ways.
All right.
And the reason I try not to play too much like the other guitarists because the soon you don't never want to hear like if you're playing some a guy come up to you and say, "Hey, you sound just like," and they never say your name. They would say
Yeah,
Stevie
yeah.
Ray.
That's what
They
always
would
pisses
say,
me off.
yeah. So I was always told by I heard it from a George Benson clone guy that he was talking to George Benson one time and he was playing all of Benson's licks just like Benson, playing it just like him. And Benson said, "Yeah, man, that's cool. But the only thing is, you don't have no identity because you playing the stuff I've already played. So he said you need to find your own identity.
Yeah, exactly. I'm asking because that's the thing I'm currently working on right
Yeah.
now to find my uh, voice.
Mm.
And yeah,
Yeah.
so I was told by many musicians to copy and to look at what other guitarists do, and yeah, that's the way I might develop mine. But I'm asking if you had any
Yeah.
experiences when you have a moment like, oh yeah, that's me. That's nobody else
Yeah.
but just me.
There you go. And see, you're doing the right thing. By it's always good to
Because I
listen.
feel like I'm starting
Yeah,
to
it's good
find
to
that
always
kind of thing.
yeah, it's always good to listen to other guitar players and performers, and learn the lick. But then once you learn it, use your improvisational skills to kind of turn it around a little bit or give it a different flavor or something like that.
Hmm.
So you're doing the right thing by still listening. You should always keep an open ear, always.
Yeah,
And I would add that it's important not to listen only guitar players, for example, but all instrumentalists too,
Yep.
yeah, sure. That's what I said about singing
and
through the
imitate
instrument.
them.
Hmm.
Because
Yep.
I think how I have been practicing playing different licks and solos by just playing what I'm currently singing and
Okay.
what I have in my mind. And I think that's incredibly interesting about even playing with different singers and just, kind of messing around with them when they sing something and sing back to them through the guitar. This is what I like to do, a little messing around with them.
Yeah, it's good to listen to everything. When I listen to a song, I listen to all the tracks up under the main lick that's supporting the song. Those to me are the very most important parts. Like all the orchestration stuff underneath the songs, like strings or
Mm.
horns, all that stuff is important to development of your ear and soloing. Instead of just listen to the soloists, you have to listen to the under stuff that's supporting it to making the soloist sound good. And that's
Yeah,
the stuff I like listening to, which is the orchestration and all that chordal stuff. Make it sound much beautiful.
I got it.
Hmm.
Got it. So I have another question, if that's all right. So let me just put my thoughts together.
All right.
So there are all those scales and all those chord combinations and progressions, and how much of your playing is how conscious are you about all those things while playing, while soloing, while improvising? Do
Well,
you
after
do it just by ear? You have just played. Um, you
no,
don't
I have
think of it, or
well, not anymore. Is now that you once you get all that stuff under your belt, it just comes naturally when you
Mhm.
listen to another musician like Michael. He plays a lot of avant-garde chords in his songs, and if you study a lot of chord books, you know, you can learn all the chords and try to emulate them. So when you hear somebody playing something, you can make your own voicing up, which the books help a lot. I have a zillion books, a zillion chord. Yeah, I have a lot of books with orchestration. Uh, and this is just from years and years of looking at these books and then putting them into my memory bank so I can kind of visualize what they look like and form the form of the chord. So whoever you
yeah,
play,
different
just like,
places on the
yeah, just
fretboard.
like if you play with a certain singer will make you think about the chords. Like we did a song with Michael, and he had this young lady singing on it, and I never knew the song had words. And then when I heard her singing it, my voicing of my chords and playing style went to what she was saying, you know.
Mm.
So far as listen to a
You're
lot.
talking about this old blues by Miles Davis, yes?
Yeah, all blues with the what's the lady's name that was singing, Mike?
Grażyna.
Yeah, she just brought a whole different vibe to the track, which makes you think about all those chords and stuff that you studied. You can now hear those chords in your head and just play the voicings, to make it fit. Because I had never worked with her before. I had never seen her before until Michael brought her on his set, and it was all man, it was nice gig, man, just nice. To be able to use
Better.
all this stuff you learn in school and through the books, you get a chance to use it at some point, you know.
I,
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot.
I want to say something about Mikołaj questions.
Please.
When I started, I sort of developed, I call it Walkman with me, in me, meaning that the music was always playing. And until today, there's music playing inside of me, like a Walkman in me. But the Walkman from the beginning started to play like whatever I heard from Wayne Shorter, Stanley Tarantine, whoever I loved, and I listened, and my body was playing, my Walkman was playing this music, until one day I started hearing different stuff. And then probably what happened is what Rick said, that you're starting developing your own musical world. And that's how it was with me anyway. So I call it Walkman with me, in me.
That's beautiful. That's wow. Thank you.
Excuse me, the gentleman, who is that gentleman speaking? Is he still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Who do you are you playing now? Do you have anything on YouTube or recorded?
Yeah, I got some songs of my own, recorded demos somewhere on my hard drive. I'm working with a band right now. I got a little solo project, so called. I'll write acoustic songs and lyrics and just record it. I'm
Okay.
planning to release it someday, maybe.
Okay, you have anything posted on YouTube where I could probably go and check you out?
I got it on SoundCloud.
Mikołaj, maybe you can post it in our chat as you are on Zoom. The link.
Would that be all right? Yeah, I
Yeah.
would totally do it.
That'd be perfect.
I would be honored. Well, the thing is, I have to be gone in a couple of minutes. So would it be all right if I contact you maybe through the email or I'm talking about
yeah, that'd be fine.
Still use your chat here, guys. So you have Zoom chat.
Okay, yeah, so he can always come back and because matter of fact, he can go on my website and find the address where he can send me the stuff or send me the contact. So
Mikołaj, do you have Rick's website?
I think Mikołaj muted his.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said I'll find it.
Oh, you're right. Yes.
So I'm posting it right now on the chat. That's all right. Where is it? I hate technology.
Why do you play electric guitar?
Because it's analog.
Still the interface is analog. Okay, we got your SoundCloud. Brilliant.
That's the I think that's the right one. Yeah, I haven't really mixed it. I don't do lots of that. I don't really know how to, so I just play my guitar and sing.
Okay, any more questions?
I've got one.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry to God, and just before you start, I need to go right now. So I just wanted to say how grateful I am for all the things I heard today, and yeah,
Hey,
thank you so much.
Yeah, glad you could join us, man. Really appreciate you, man.
Really grateful for hearing all this stuff. Thanks. You take care of yourself, and hope to see you next year here.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, so goodbye, everybody. Thank you.
Take care, Mikołaj. Thank you so much. Listen.
Bye.
Bye.
Lucy?
if I'm not wrong, Rick mentioned a chop technique on guitar, and could you present it yet for us? Because I play the violin and I'm also trying to do these chops on with my bow, and it's really
cool. Okay, now what was your question about the chops thing?
If you can present it for us, because I think it's originally guitar technique. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but yes, I'd like to watch it.
Here go one from West Montgomery called "Tear It Down," old jazz cut. This is kind of hard to play without the track, but
We hear the track behind it.
you get the idea. And another West Montgomery, it's got a lot of violin stuff up in it.
Yeah.
How do you create your own chop grooves on the guitar?
I usually start with, sometimes I have dreams of certain melodies in my head. So I can just like Michael, you walk around hearing music stuff all the time. And then sometimes you could hear something in your dream and you wake up and you try to remember it and put it down. Like me, I always have a guitar right by my bed. So if I have a dream, I can pick up the guitar and try to figure it out. So like if we was playing some avant-garde stuff. Like I would record that, play another line on top. And I would add some drums, you know, get a drum track going. Start with a basic drum beat. Just start adding colors to it. First, it helps if you got a recorder. You can record the parts down first, one at a time, as you hear them in your head. And just start adding pads to it.
Uno, dos, tres, gato. Uno, dos, tres, gato. Uno, dos, tres, gato. And just make up stuff.
Yeah, so that's what you would do. Just whatever you feel. And if you are fortunate enough to have a little small 4-track, 8-track little recorder, just put your ideas down and start adding pads to it. Yeah, and just start adding pads and just build a song till you till you like it. Did it cut off?
Thank you. I will do it.
Okay. Are you so you're a violinist? You have anything recorded or on YouTube?
Yes, on Facebook
Facebook? Okay.
and Instagram also.
Drop us the link.
Chat or
Yeah, drop it on the chat. Yeah, absolutely. So others can also see your music. That's perfect.
Super muziek.
Hey. So did she posted a link or something?
Yeah, there is a not yet, but it will come up soon.
Okay.
It's just posting at the moment. So it's great that we can also share the links and find out who everyone does.
Moet je habitat?
Okay, I have a black screen.
Oh yeah, I think we have Anna, which just joined us, playing a little bit with it. So I will ask, but no worries. Okay, Anna, move to the screen.
Okay, thank you.
Hey Anna, good to see you. So
I'm sir.
Okay, Anna, can you hear me?
Yes.
You have a question or anything?
Yes, of course.
Go ahead.
Dzień dobry.
Dzień dobry. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Pani Aniu, ma Pani może pytanko do Rika, które miałbym przetłumaczyć, albo do samego Michała, które chciałaby Pani zadać?
Bardzo mi się to podoba.
Okej, to bardzo się cieszymy. Witamy również. Ja pozwolę sobie wyciszyć mikrofon, żeby Rick mógł kontynuować rozmowę z Michałem, dobrze? I bądź, kiedy ma Pani pytanie, oczywiście będzie mogła Pani je również zadać, włączając mikrofon. Dziękujemy, że się z nami, że się Pani do nas przyłączyła. Okay, Rick, I just explained quickly the rule of the meeting, so that's that. Michael, in your hands.
Okay.
Well, what's the questions? Jakie pytania są od Pani Ani?
Or anyone else.
Michael, can I have a question for you?
Yes.
What was your starting point in jazz, beside Miles? Was your starting point?
No, Miles, no, Miles. Miles came much later. It started with blues. I was like 13, and I've heard this, if you remember, this Voice of America signal on the beginning, Willis Conover from, exactly, this is Music USA, Voice of America, Willis Conover, Jazz Hour, transmitted to you from Washington, D.C., through relay in Tangier. And it was every night at 10 o'clock at night. And I've heard some jazz, blues, boogie woogie, whatever. As 13 years old, and I played classical violin, and I never thought I will play anything else but classical violin. But you know, the Walkman started playing in me, and I started, you know, when I was alone, I started sort of like singing the blues, and that was it. And then next, and finally I've heard Louis Armstrong. This was my first.
And I knew this story about you exchange a record
Yeah.
by Armstrong to Miles Davis. Yes.
Yeah, and listen, there was times in Poland where, like, American record would cost 2-3 times as much as monthly salary of average man in Poland. It was like 1,500 of Polish zloty, and records were 3,500-4,000. And I had one beautiful Louis Armstrong, and a friend of mine in school said, "Look, my brother from London sent me this. I don't like it. Can you check it out?" And this was my first Miles Davis record called Jazz Tracks, and I exchanged it. I gave him my Armstrong, and he gave me his Miles, and that's about it. And actually, when I started playing saxophone at 15 in a club, I was first admitted to traditional jazz group, and then a few months later there was trade-off. The saxophone player from modern jazz group went to traditional group, and I went to modern group, and that's it. I mean, and a few years later I was in the US in '62, and Rick, I've heard whole week of sets of Wes Montgomery in Berkeley, California.
Oh,
And the recording full house. We are on that session. Even we were cursing in Polish, you know, when was the applause, you know, to make ourselves audible.
yeah. That's
Legendary session for a full house. Jimmy Cobb was great on there. We miss him very much. Great
Yeah.
player. Played
Well,
on Kind of Blue. And in terms of jazz and blues, the Kind of Blue is the perfect example of the fusion of these two things, because most of these tracks on this album, like even for example All Blues, yes, the title said it's the blues, but most of these tracks on this album, great album, classic album, are made in the 12-bar blues style, and Bill Evans playing on this record was very influential for every single next piano players, like we can ever Jan Hammer from great Mahavishnu Orchestra, Lloyd Mace, who worked with Pat Metheny, and all of these musicians come from the Kind of Blue, and Bill Evans, John Coltrane, Cannonball Adderley, all these great players. And I will say the jazz, modern jazz started with Monk, but for me, modern jazz started in like milestones sessions for Miles Davis, when the sextet, classic sextet, became real. Paul Chambers, Cannonball Adderley, John Coltrane, and their other musicians, they started playing with Moss, and for me it was the real beginning of jazz. The next few decades of what will be considered jazz, because I think in times in these 50s, the stuff like Mahavishnu Orchestra, maybe Weather Report, wouldn't be considered as a as a jazz, as a thing, because this would place what was playing John McLaughlin in Mahavishnu Orchestra. For me, they're more close to the metal than a jazz, but it's, in my opinion, John McLaughlin was a very explosive player. Yes.
So you mentioned before Jaco Pastorius, one of the
Yes, Jaco Pastorius,
I
great bass
I
player.
happen to know him from when he was basically teenager. We did something in a recording in Florida, and he was recording his first album. He was staying with us in Manhattan in an apartment, and I must say that there's a lot of crazy stories with Jaco. I happened to witness, and maybe we should do one meeting on Jaco and just say one quick one. I'm going out of the session with the violin, and Jaco runs to me. Hey, Michael, where are you going? I mean, I'm off the session. Hey, listen, I have a bass. Let's go and play. I say, where? There is a bar here. And we went, and what did we do? Dan Nali. Two of us, just like crazy, you know. And he stayed. I had to go home.
Yeah.
That's the end of that story.
Yeah.
And on the session
There's
for
many,
the first
many.
album by Jaco Pastorius, it was including like Lenny White, yes,
Yes.
your drummer, yes.
Well, not well. One of the greatest drummers and friend of mine for more than 40 years. A quick story about Lenny. He would come.
Lenny!
He would.
Lenny!
He would come to my studio in Manhattan when he was coming from New Jersey to Manhattan. He always stepped by, and then he listened to what I do and do music, write and compose and program in computer. And then he listened. Hey, Michael, that's great, but take off these drums. And he would put the beat, put this, and say, I got to run. And quite a few songs were recorded like this.
To the young gentleman, I had a pleasure of playing with a lot of the old jazz guys at the White House in 2016. So if you have time, go to YouTube and pull up Jazz at the White House 2016, and you'll see everybody from Al Jarreau, Herbie Hancock, just about all the modern jazz guys and drummers on the same hit. And we did the blues section of it. That's why I was telling you, blues and jazz go together. It's almost like the same thing. From Sting to everybody. So just check that video out on YouTube, and you'll be very surprised on how it incorporates into what's going on today.
What is it? I will put it on the chat.
Yeah, it's called Jazz at the White House 2016. And it's got the full concert with all the jazz greats and, and other musicians as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm back. Let's call you're still here.
Okay. Listen, I'm thinking how to wrap up this beautiful, endless, great meeting with you, Rick. Usually we would put video, but since we all can find so many videos around, it's up to you. If you feel like playing for us, like something to wrap it up, it's up to you. If not, we can play some video or.
Yeah, I wanted to play one of the tracks we did, Mike, when you were here in Chicago.
Okay.
If I can get it to work right. I don't know if you remember this.
I forgot.
mic.
Great DJ.
Hey, Michael, I just want to let you know, man, I had to end it with you, man, because it was a gas playing with you, man, from the very first day that we met. So it was a gas, man.
Was
Really nice.
incredible to ever meet you, and I think this can be a really nice wrap up to our great meeting. It was really nice to see you, and you welcome again. Look, Stan can say a few words about this. He is responsible for upgrading and building the website and possibility for us to eventually jam, webinars, and so on. So future is ahead of us. We are on and on and on as we go.
Right on. And
So we'll see you here.
I'd like to thank everybody for joining in. It was a pleasure meeting everybody. I hope one day we all meet in person where it'd be much better.
Absolutely, I agree. And I want to finish with the
Yeah, thank
last
you,
words
man.
from. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, absolutely, for meeting with you and hearing your story. And I would wrap up with thanks from Dan Hastings from a U.S. Embassy in Poland, and he is thankful for sharing, the passion and the art with us tonight. It was absolutely a blast. So, Rick, thank you so much for tonight.
Thank you, man.
Michael, thank you, guys. Thank you so much for being today with all of us.